Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In the previous video, we created a machine learning resource, Demo ML, and in this video, we will go headfirst into Azure Machine Learning Studio with our Demo ML. We are going to train our very first model and then score and evaluate it. Okay, let's get started. So, the goal of the model that we are going to build today is to get a list of cars where we input their features, and the model will predict a price according to the features that we have inputted to the car model, and it will help us know if the asking price is in fact matching with the market price and will help us decide if we want to go ahead and buy the car. So for the purpose of car price prediction, today we are going to use Designer's feature, which is available in the authoring tab. And the essential difference is that it's an approach where we do not have to code. So we want to train and test our model and get the score for how it's performing, but we will do it all on a GUI where we will just draw a flowchart diagram, make the connections and make it flow. So we will be essentially building a pipeline on a UI and not coding at any point. So that's a great feature, and since we are going to do a head start, it's a great end to pick up with. So the first thing we see is a pop-up, and so the product is really in the developing phase, and the engineering team really wants some feedbacks, and it's basically a satisfaction feedback, which will let them know how the product is doing. So that's understandable at this phase. But for us, since we are doing the head first, let's skip this survey. Okay, create a new pipeline. And we have a lot of pop-ups explaining the workspace that we have. um, so okay, left pane, got it. Let's just close it. Take your time to explore these. Okay, I can't close this right one. I have to proceed with the left one and then I can close this. Okay. um, so let's load this. Why it's not loading? First of all, let's edit the pipeline name. Let's call it car price prediction. Now I'll go ahead and save this. Let's import our first component, and that's going to be automobile price raw. So that's the data set I already looked up. So I'm just going to drop it on our playground or the pipeline GUI, where we can just drag and drop and connect the pipelines and then save it and run it. So automobile price raw is, if we right click on this and go to preview data, it will show us all the data that it consists of, and we can take the time to just explore and understand what the data set is really about before implementing any model to train on it. So we have a lot of relevant information: the fuel type, engine location, front or back, wheel size, then we have length and width of the car, we have engine size, and we have the number of cylinders. So these are all crucial factors that will definitely decide the price of the car. So the feature list is quite comprehensive. um, but let's add another component, and that's select columns in dataset. So there it is. Let's drag and drop it on the sheet, and let's make the connection of data input to dataset. So the normalized losses column was the column which consisted of a lot of missing datas, NaN. So what we will do is we will select all columns and just exclude that column which has a lot of missing values so that our training is more proper. So I'm going to remove normalized losses from our dataset using the select column in dataset component. Also, to make the pipeline more descriptive so that in future it makes sense, what we can do is we can add node information and description of the task that or the essence of that component on our pipeline. So I'll just add what this space is meant to be and not actually add anything, but to show you that it will show up on subtitle texts on the component. Now we also have a component for cleaning missing data. So let's look that up. So clean should show it up, and there it is. So I'm going to drag and drop on our pipeline and make the connection. Now what this is supposed to do is it is supposed to remove the rows with missing data. That's the purpose of this component for our pipeline. And I'll just add that. So cleaning missing data can be done in many ways. You can add the mean where the data is missing or do something. But what we are going to do is we are going to completely remove the row itself where a single data in a single any column is missing. And the option to do that is over here. Cleaning mode is remove entire row. That's the mode that we are going to go with. So the next component is going to be split data, and that's should be very familiar to those who are into machine learning, because what we are going to do is now that we have a clean data, we will split it for training and testing purposes. So let's make the connection, double click on split data, and I'm going to set the fraction as 0.7. So that's the standard ratio for splitting the training and testing dataset, training being 0.7 and testing being 0.3. So a quick realignment and we are ready to add our next component. The next component is going to be train model. So I'm going to look that up and add it on our pipeline. I'll make the connection for result dataset into dataset for train model, and the other input is for train model, the untrained model, and that will be the training model that we want to use to predict the car prices. But before that, let's make the target column for the training model. So the target column is the output that we want to predict, and that's price. So uh, I'll have to type it out, it seems. And since I'm typing out, okay, enter and save. Since I'm typing it out, let's be double sure that I didn't miss on any case sensitivity or stuff. So let's head back to the data set and look into the preview of the data set and see the price. So yes, that's pretty much all small price. That's what we did ask as the output for our prediction. So that looks good. We are ready to add the model, training model, and let's look for linear regression. Let's stick with linear regression for this video. So I'll connect the untrained model to untrained model, and now that's done, we can add the next component, which will be score model. So I'll look that up here in the components list, score model, and we just need to drag and drop this and connect the score model trained model input from the output of trained model. So let's do that. Also, we need to connect the result data set as the data set against which it will be scoring. And now we want to add the component evaluate model, drag and drop. Let's make some room and connect the score dataset to score dataset. And with that, we are all set on the pipeline flow. The pipeline is end-to-end complete, but it's missing an essential thing is the compute on what it is going to be trained. So now we need to move from designer tab to compute tab in manage. But before that, make sure that you have your autosave on and you have saved the pipeline, because you would hate to redo this. So let's create our compute. And we have a couple of options: compute instance, compute clusters, and a lot more. But let's stick with compute instances and click on new. So just close the guiding pop-ups. I'm going to rename the compute name as compute demo, and whether it's going to be CPU or GPU, it's CPU, and I'm going to pick the cheapest of all, uh, just to be safe. And remember to delete this once your model is trained, uh, because it's going to cost you. And we do have the setting to turn it off and stuff, but if you are on credits or you are not very confident, it's a good idea, as long as we are just learning, to just delete the compute resource once it's created, to make sure that you are not billed for it unexpectedly. Then there is a good feature to add scheduling so that you can auto stop the compute. And just I'm going to go with the defaults that we have for scheduling next. I'm not going to do any changes in rest of the configuration, just review and create the compute instance. So this is going to definitely take a couple of minutes to create the compute for us. So let's meet back when it's done. And welcome back. Let's head back to designer now, and all we need to do is run this pipeline. But before that, let's fix this small thing. We need to apply this rule to a column, and it's essential to specify the column. So let's go ahead and select all columns. And now that the pipeline is all good, we can just configure and submit. So create new, and name is going to be car price demo. And next, now input and output, no explicit input we are giving. Next, let's select our compute instance here, and we have that here, and that should do it. It's the default storage account. Let's move with that. Okay, submit. Now this will take again some time, so I'll be back, or I'll just fast forward the video for you and be back when it's done. And it's completed. So we can just preview on score model to see the prediction prices that our trained model is making now. So just the same set of columns, but the score or the price is the price that's predicted by our model and not the price that was in the dataset. So that's there. Next, we can look up into evaluation model, preview data, access, evaluate results, and we can see how our model is performing. So we have mean absolute error, and that's a measure which doesn't mean anything much by itself, but then we have root mean square error, that's a better measure. And then we have relative squared error. Then we have a value of 0.3, that's decent. And then we have coefficient of determination, that's the if the earlier doesn't make sense, you can completely rely on this for linear regression models. So the closer we are towards 1 is the measure of how good we are performing in terms of prediction. So our model is doing 0.8 and which 0.88, so that's a good measure towards prediction for a linear regression model, but by no means it's a really good reliable model. But that's a good start, and that is it. We have evaluated our model. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you have a good day. Bye bye. Pipelines are really cool, really fun, but when you are heading into complex models, you would want to drop back on coding approach. So let's learn that in the next video.